Hi, and welcome to Danny After Dark. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a notification or a new episode. Tonight, we have a very special guest, and I'm really excited for y'all to see this episode. So, joining us tonight is Sheryl McCollum. She is a crime scene investigator for almost 40 years. Sheryl has used her training and experience in criminal justice to solve some of the country's most difficult cases. She is a 3-time nominated Emmy Award-winning crime scene investigator from Atlanta, National Law Enforcement Officer Hall of Fame inductee, director of the Cold Case Investigative Research Institute, and writer for Crime Online, as well as forensic and crime scene expert for Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. Cheryl also, in her free time, is the director of the Wildlife CSI Academy and the U.S. ambassador for the Wildlife Forensic Academy in South Africa. I learned of Cheryl through her podcast, Zone 7, where every single week she has a variety of well-accomplished guests in their career discuss current cases, past cases, and what's going on in true crime this week. Every Friday night, she has the True Crime Roundup with Joshua Schiffer now, and that has been amazing if you want to hear what's going on in the world of true crime. Last but not least, Cheryl is one of the kindest people I have had the pleasure of meeting. At any type of convention, she will always take the time to say hello, greet you with a smile, and share a laugh as though you guys have been lifelong friends forever. Now, with further ado, let's welcome Sheryl McCollum to Danny After Dark. Hi, Cheryl.
What a wonderful, wonderful introduction. Thank you, honey. Fabulous.
Well, you are extremely well accomplished in your career. I mean, and what I did here was just sum it up. I could have gone on for another 15 minutes. But
well, you stick around long enough, you have good luck. That's all I can tell you.
Well, thank you for joining tonight. I'm really excited to have you on, and we are live. So if anybody has any questions for Cheryl as the show goes on, keep them in mind. And at the end, we will, answer some of your questions that you have.
That sounds great.
So let's first start out with Cheryl. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm married. I have 2 children. I guess I should say I'm married to my high school sweetheart. We have 2 children. My son he's graduated from college. He's working his job. My daughter is still in college, and she'll be done in about a year. And I'm a crime scene investigator for a living with the Metro Atlanta Police Department. And I'm the youngest of 5 children, all girls.
Oh, gosh. So one, that's amazing that you're married to your high school sweetheart. I absolutely love that.
Yes.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So in regards to the field that you work in, was that something you always wanted to do? How did you get into that?
Always wanted to do it. No question about it. I got just fascinated with Bonnie and Clyde when I was 4. And my mom would tell these fantastic stories of how they crisscrossed the United States, robbing banks. And I just thought that sounded incredible. And I didn't know why my parents didn't do it. And, she never told me the ending. I didn't know anything about the death car until I was 8. And then by then I was just wanting to know more and more about people like Al Capone and John Dillinger. And so when I was 12, they took me to Alcatraz, and literally there was just no turning back.
That's incredible. So did your family know that was did they see the spark and be like, that's where she's going? That's where she's going?
I mean, my dad would joke and he would say, I hope she uses it for good, because I would sometimes say, like, I got where I thought being an international jewel thief sounded like an incredible job, because I thought, man, you just go to places like Monaco and you steal jewelry from these people that, have the most gorgeous diamonds in the whole world. I didn't see it as, really a victim. I thought, well, they're rich. They can get some more. I don't have any, so to me, it sounded fair at the time. But I mean, I was 5. And I used to practice. Could I get into the second story window? Because I thought that was something I would have to do if I was an international jewel thief. I couldn't go through the front door. So
that is an incredible way of thinking.
yes, yes, yep.
So the training to get to where you are in your field, I mean, would have graduated from that line of thinking. But I mean, for everybody who's listening, and then for myself as well, I would love to know, to be a crime scene investigator, what exactly does that take, education wise, training wise?
Okay, well, short answer, it depends on the department. Some departments you need a GED. Some departments they want a master's degree. So it just depends.
Okay.
The best training is going to happen on the job. The second best training is going to happen at the police academy. So even if you have a master's degree in forensics, that's one thing. But that's like memorizing all the instruments to an airplane and you haven't landed yet. Like, you know what the instruments are about, but you ain't been in that storm flying. So there's nothing that's going to take the place of actually doing it, and hopefully with a team of people. So like my department, we all respond. I'm not there by myself. I'm not trying to figure out anything alone. I've got a group of people with me, and we take it step by step and help each other. So that's something that I would wish for everybody, but that's certainly the way we do it.
Interesting. So it's not like TV where there's one hero in this. It's really a team effort.
Oh, it's exactly like TV now. I'm the hero. Come on. No, it's not like TV. In that, it doesn't, again, in my world, it's not just one person. And let me be very clear. Like I've already said, I have 4 sisters. I can throw a party, and my party's going to be great. But if I include the 4 of them, Sharon is going to make better food. That's just a fact. Sheila has got better china and wine glasses. Okay, the party just got better. Charlene, she's got some folks in the music industry that's going to make my party second to none. And then my sister Shelly, as I always say, she is a party by herself. So if you include her, it's going to be a legendary event. So again, I can do an investigation by myself. But if I have all these other people with different advocations and vocations and just common sense sometimes, that it'll just make your case. It will crack a case wide open.
Makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So this might be a hard question to answer, but what is maybe a day on the job for you like, or maybe if it's easier for you to say like a typical week, what can people expect?
Here's the best thing. I don't ever know. No day is going to be the same. Even if I have a similar type of crime, it's never going to be the same. So usually I'll get into work, and the first thing that I do, I'm not just the crime scene investigator. I also take care of all the evidence. So overnight, I take care of the evidence that came in, make sure that it's secure and put, into property correctly, maintain that chain of custody. Y'all know about that. Then if there's a call that comes out, I respond to the scene. Then I write the reports, and I take the photographs and upload them and all that sort of stuff, getting ready for this thing to potentially go to trial. So I want to be sure that everything that I saw there, everything that I believe that I can articulate, I want it in that report. And I'm the type of person, I include the weather. I include what's in the mailbox, what I saw up and down the street before I even got out of my car. So I want it as clear as I can, what the scene was like, what I saw, what I found, what I determined, so that when I get on the stand, I'm not, tossing stuff out there saying, I don't remember, I don't recall, I'm not sure. I want to be sure. I want to know. On top of that, I'm the kind of crime scene investigator. If there's something that doesn't fit for me or doesn't make sense, I'm going to take it. I'm not one of these people that says, okay, we've got somebody shot. I want the gun and the shell casings and a blood sample, and I'm going to see if there's fingerprints on the doorknob, and I'm out. No. Is there a ripped up picture in the trash can? Is they're a Bible on the nightstand, but it's got dust on it and there's drug paraphernalia. Like, I want the whole story. And if I find something like a ripped up extension cord, I may take it. I have no idea what that's about, but I might later. Somebody may say something, somebody might show me a letter or another photograph. Now this item is making sense to me. I'm glad we have it. So that's what I try to do. And you mentioned TV earlier, and I will tell you one thing. A lot of times on TV, you will, see a crime scene investigator roll up or detective roll up and ask the first, rookie on scene, hey, what do we got? And the person says, oh, we got a accidental death. He fell off the ladder. Maybe that's what happened, but I don't know that's what happened. So I don't ever ask that. I don't want you to tell me what we have. I want to tell you what we have. But I'm not even going to do that until the lead detective goes through. So I'm going to do my walkthrough, an initial investigation. Then I want the detective to go through. Then we're going to go through together. And if we're not seeing this thing at the same frame, then we need to go back in. So if I think it's a homicide and he thinks it's a suicide, I've missed something. So let's go back. So that's how TV differs the way I truly work.
How many people are on site of a scene? Like, how many people and in what roles or capacities are they there?
Well, you're going to have the responding officer, and let's say you have shots fired, and that's how the call comes out. That's all you know. But when he gets there, he sees a victim laying on the ground. Well, now we've got, EMS coming. We've got the fire department coming. We've got more officers coming. They're going to have officers that secure the scene, put up the yellow tape. We're going to have officers and detectives canvass, looking for witnesses, asking people what they saw, what they heard. If anybody can tell us who the victim is or what might have occurred, you're then going to have the whole detective squad. You're going to have crime scene. And then, unfortunately, sometimes you're going to have the medical examiner and transport. So you're going to have a lot of people doing a lot of things, but it's like a wristwatch. It looks like it's chaotic, but everybody knows their job, and it works beautifully most of the time. It works with really good precision.
Wow, that's a lot of moving parts. So yeah, that works out that it, like you said, everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and that's until the media shows up. They show up too. So
oh gosh, that's a whole nother thing. In one of your recent episodes on Zone 7, you did say exactly what you just said a moment ago, that you collect everything because you never know.
Right.
You can't go back and get it after necessarily, not always.
Yep. No. You can't, you got one shot, really. Yeah. You can go back. Like, even at cold cases, we have found evidence, but you don't want that to be your scene, and you don't want that to be your reputation. So you want to collect everything that first time. And that's going to give you the biggest, clear version of what happened anyway. How many shots were fired, from what type of weapon, what caliber, what kind of, casing do you have, from, what manufacturer. There's all kind of things you're going to want to know. How much mail was in the mailbox? Was there anything at the front door where they hadn't picked up a package? Now you're trying to figure out time of death. Has it been days? Has it been hours? What are we looking at? What do they have, again, on their bedside table, in their refrigerator, in their bathroom? A lot of times your den is where you invite company. So that's one room. And that might be where you're kind of showing off, right? You've got the perfect family photos. You've got maybe a diploma or something. You got books. But that side table in your bedroom is going to tell me a lot. So that's where I'm going.
And so I don't know the necessarily like the crime rate where you are. Like, how many calls are you responding to in a day, in a week, or does it just vary?
It varies. I mean, again, you may go 2 days with nothing, and then you may be called out in the middle of the night 2 nights in a row. So it just depends. But again, for me, that's part of what I love about this job. I don't know. I'm going to work everything from a horrific homicide to we may get a call, hey, this lady is so afraid and freaking out because there's a bird in her house. Okay, that's not even a crime, but can we go help her? Yes. So me and code enforcement may go over there, and I may try to shoo the bird while they catch it in their big net. I mean, it's just something different all the time, all the time, you know.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's quite a range.
It's a range, and that's just one example. There's a million examples. I've
Yeah.
worked, horrific, sad suicides, but I've also worked where we got a call and said, hey, there's a guy, you know what a one-man band is, where they've got the drum and all the instruments on one little contraption?
Yeah.
Okay. He was a one-man band marching across the bridge in our town, which that was interesting enough. I was like, I'm listening to the radio. That got my attention. And then they said, and he's butt naked. And I'm like, well, I got to go see this. So let me ride over there, because I'm not going to see that, twice in my career. So, there's some comic relief to it. And on top of that, and I always try to tell people, because they a lot of times will ask me, why haven't you burned out? How can you, work in this field for so long? I am literally surrounded by heroes every day. I've got people that run toward gunfire. I've got people that will pull people out of a burning car. And these are the folks I work with. So it's difficult to even imagine burning out. Now, getting maybe to an age I can't do it like I would like to do it. Like I'm almost to the point I don't want to climb up on a roof anymore, because, it's going to be hard to, heal from that. I'm not 24. But, there's a lot I think I can still offer, in that I've seen so much that maybe I could walk somebody through some stuff. But so far, I still love it.
And that's one of the things you've also talked about in several episodes on your podcast, where you love what you do. That's why you've not burnt out. Because I think you said something to the effect in one episode, like something to the effect of like, you'll stop doing it when you don't love it anymore.
Oh, 100%. If I did not love it and I just was hating to go to work every day, I wouldn't step foot in there again, because that's not fair to the people that need help. My son was a goalie at the University of Alabama for the lacrosse team. And I used to tell him, because when he was younger, he would get frustrated if somebody scored on him. But I said, you do know you're the last shot. Everybody else has failed if they've gotten to you to even try to score on you. Well, that's how I feel. I'm not a first responder. I'm a last responder. I don't show up unless there's something bad that's happened that needs to be processed to try to figure out who did it. And, that's something that I take pride in. I'm not going to get in a hurry. I'm not going to rush through it. Hopefully I'm not going to ignore something. And, I try to do what I call a 361, Danny, in that most people say, oh, I want to look at this 360. But if you've ever watched that Robin Williams movie, Dead Poet Society, remember when he got the kids to stand up? They saw that classroom different. Well, if you ever grew up with like a tree house, the first time you ever climbed onto that platform, you could see further down your street than you've ever seen it. You could see friends' yards and their dogs and their pools and different trees. It changes the way you see your neighborhood. I try to do the same thing at a crime scene. Stand on something, walk the opposite way, get a vision that is totally different, so that you can go, wait a minute, I didn't notice that before, but that doesn't look right. Or look what I found over here. This had to be the point of exit, even though we know that's the point of entry. And so just take another look from a different angle, to me, is imperative.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Your mentality and rationale on that makes so much sense about not missing anything. And we'll get to a case a little bit later. You might have heard about it here close in Boston that I'd like you to weigh in on, where but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
So over the span of your career in your profession, have you seen anything change, whether it's the type of candidates coming through to do the work that you do, or how the field has evolved for the better, for the worse? What have you seen during your career for that?
Well, let me just tell you, I started when we didn't have radios on us. They were only in the car. So once you got out, you were out. You were kind of untethered. I worked before there was crack cocaine. I worked before there was fentanyl. So I have absolutely seen criminal justice as a whole change. No doubt about it. Again, I think one of the mainstays has been this team effort, this group effort. I've never worked anywhere that there wasn't a team associated with criminal justice, whether that's been probation, crime scene, the sheriff's department. It doesn't matter. It's that, it's us, and we're going to all respond. We're going to all help each other. So that is the one thing that hasn't changed, which is good. But one thing that is absolutely, without a doubt, changed is TV. TV has made more young women want to get into the field of law enforcement than ever before. So women are typically 51% of the population. We're normally 4% in law enforcement. So we're seeing a huge change there, that especially when it comes to forensics, crime scenes, forensics at the lab, it is predominantly going to a female field.
Yes. I love that.
It's awesome. But here's the thing. Men and women tend to see things differently. They approach things differently. We tend to be very detail oriented. We can look at a person at a bar and we notice the wedding ring and the shoes and the watch and the tie and whether he's got the wallet in the front or the back. Men don't always do that. They might go, oh yeah, I remember her. She was cute. That's about it. Which is great because I think there's gifts in all of it. But I think we do have a natural way of looking at things that for crime scene is extraordinary.
Yeah, absolutely. That's incredible. I love that. I love that. So part of what you do for work as well is, and y'all, if you are not following Cheryl on her social media, what are you doing? One, the information is down below, but two, part of what you see when you follow Cheryl on Instagram is you do a lot of training. Like you train so many people in a variety of things. I mean, I feel like every day, some new adventure of what you're doing, training this, training that. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what that is like? What does that entail from a trainer perspective? And what are your students like? Like, what is that like for you? Because it looks amazing.
The students are the best. And listen, when you have a lot of experience and you have a lot of stories, there's nothing better than to get some young people in front of you that weren't even born when it happened. So I've got some students that weren't born during the Olympic bombing. Well, I was in charge of the Olympic crisis response team. So I can tell you what a mass disaster is like. I can tell you what 111 victims is like with 2 fatalities and major injuries. I can tell you what it's like to have a secondary device at the next bombing. I can tell you when you have the second bombing and it's at a location where predominantly gay women are, how that changes how you respond to that scene. And you weren't even really up to speed on how that would affect how you work a scene. So I've got a lot of stories. I mean, a lot of people say, you're so this or you're so that. I've been so lucky, y'all. When I was assigned to the major case division through the crime commission, we had a young prosecutor. Buddy, when I tell you gutsy, fiery, smart, it just happened to be that my first prosecutor was Nancy Grace. I mean, what do you do with that? That's just luck. You just thank the good Lord that she was put in your path because she was able to help us and train us and show us ways to do things that no prosecutor had ever done. I mean, I'd never been to law school. I knew what the code section was, but I didn't know how to manipulate things and utilize things and put things in order a certain way. She was fantastic. She was a good friend. She is still a good friend. She is loyal. She could have anybody on her show, and she still has me. So, take that for what it's worth. But I'm just telling you, loyalty is big. It is big with me. And she's one of the most loyal people that I know. And so, you have that, which is luck. And then I just kind of fell into the Olympic thing because my boss at the time said, hey, I can't go to this meeting with all the chiefs of police and the head of everything. You go for me. I said, okay. So as we're sitting there and they're talking about this scenario and that scenario and what could happen and what are we going to do and how are we going to respond? And I said, well, you need a crisis response team, because if you have even a bus of athletes that's hit by a drunk driver, what are you going to do? And Deputy Chief Archangeli said, okay, you're in charge of that. So for 2 years, I trained how we're going to respond to different scenarios, whether it's a dignitary child that, went missing or was lost. The president was coming. His daughter was coming. There was all kind of countries represented. So we just had all these things that we had to put in place. Nobody would ever know it except we had a bomb. And because we had a bomb and the team responded the way that they did, we had 111 victims. We had 114 of our team members on scene and on site within 45 minutes.
Wow.
Unprecedented, because we were ready, because we trained. Again, I'm grateful that fell into my lap. But because of that, we had a team together. We were ready. Then when that same terrorist set off 3 more bombs, we responded. So now we have 4 bombings under our belt. When 9/11 happened, they called and sent us to the Pentagon. That wouldn't happen in my world, except for all of these things that lined up. So I have gratitude every day, and I recognize the luck, and I champion other people. Honey, don't discount being lucky. I mean, I met my husband in the 9th grade. That was luck. It's all fabulous. Fate, luck, whatever you want to call it. But I am grateful every day for it. Every day.
Wow. Yeah, that was one of the questions that I was going to ask you, because the anniversary just recently came up for July 27th, 1996. And you had just posted photos from back then of what happened that day, which is, I didn't realize like so much behind the scenes work that was done to prepare for that. And
right. We basically, Atlanta, when we got the games, we were so excited. We were like, we're going to build this park. Well, the park was surrounded by other things that were already existing. So where are you going to have a command center? And for an event that big, it could not be an RV. It just couldn't. And an RV wouldn't have, had the ability to suit our needs at the time. So one of the things I did, I contacted the person at the largest hotel right there. And I said, in the event that we have a mass situation, could we utilize your hotel as our command center? They said yes. Here's what happened. It was crazy. What does a hotel have? Blankets, pillows, restrooms, phones, TV. So by being there, we could not only interview every witness, we could give them a blanket if they were in shock. We could allow them to use the phone to call their family to say they're alive, they're okay. We could ourselves watch TV in real time. So we're watching Richard Jewell be interviewed. We had already seen him that day. We had already talked to him. I'm watching him. He's talking to Turkish TV. He's talking to Switzerland. He's talking to Atlanta folks. We know who's showing up. We know the FBI's here. We know the Secret Service is here. We know Chelsea Clinton, left moments before. We know all of that. But some of our intel came from people being interviewed on TV.
Wow. I no clue. I had no idea about that.
Yeah. So that was one of those things when you think there's 114 of us. Well, that hotel had banks of restrooms on every floor. We were well taken care of. They had water. They had food. They had places for us to rest. It was incredible. But again, planned before and worked beautifully, even better than we could have dreamed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And for anybody who wants to see a little, like see more about what Cheryl did on that, go to her social media because you posted incredible photos of back then. And it was, yeah, it was just, it's emotional to see those photos. It
Sure.
really is.
Well, let me tell you, I'm having a series come out with several of the key people, one of them being Kent Alexander. When I was assigned to Operation Weed and Seed, which is a federal task force, Kent was the U.S. attorney over that. Well, obviously, when the bomb happened, he took control of that investigation because he was the U.S. attorney. Kent wrote a book called The Suspect. That book later became the movie that Clint Eastwood did called Richard Jewell. So Kent's going to tell some behind the scenes stuff y'all ain't ready for.
Oh, I'm so excited. I am so excited.
And then I'm going to have Richard Jewell's wife. You'll hear some things that you just don't know that we were all living. So it's going to be, I hope, incredible. And then another one that's been done, but during 9/11, I was sent to the Pentagon. But an interesting part of that, my sister Charlene was a flight attendant for Delta. And she was on a flight from Frankfurt, Germany to Atlanta and was diverted to Gander, Newfoundland. And if any of y'all want to hear my story on Zone 7 of 9/11, I think you would dig it because if y'all have seen the play Come From Away, Charlene and I are depicted in that. And I don't want to tell you, you can listen to it. But again, luck, crazy,
oh
crazy.
My goodness. So there have been so many well-known cases that you have worked in your career. I know me and you have messaged a little bit about several of them. And one of them that I didn't know until you recently messaged me that you did was, and this is more hometown for me, but the Boston Strangler case, Albert DeSalvo. Can you speak a little bit about what you did for that? For that case?
We researched that case and worked that case for a little while. And Casey Sherman had written a book called A Rose for Mary. And the book Rose for Mary became something that the Institute used to say, wait a minute, if this family has gotten DNA from his aunt, Mary Sullivan, why in the world had they not cross-checked it with Albert DeSalvo? So the first thing we said was exhume him. They didn't want to do that without more evidence. And so we went to work. And one of the things we determined was most of the murders were done on days of a baseball game. Well, if you live in an apartment, where is your super during the baseball game? He's somewhere listening to the radio or watching the game, right? He's not monitoring people coming in and out. So we thought, man, that might be a really good way for him to go unseen. And if he was wearing something like a maintenance person, nobody on the street would look twice at him coming in or out of that building. And then, we did some other things. We met with the family of the lead detective. And this was an incredible experience for me in that the family allowed me to look at their dad's original case file. And this man sat at his kitchen table and by hand drew these crime scenes to scale. His report, you could not read it, understand it, and appreciate it without saying Albert DeSalvo did it. So again, we maintained you need to exhume him and cross-check the DNA with Mary Sullivan, which was done. Turns out it was his DNA. But there's more to the story. And hopefully you're going to hear some things when I have Casey Sherman on soon. But, he's a fantastic person. And I didn't really know that much about him. I just knew he was Mary's nephew. And then years later, here's all these movies and he's written all these bestsellers and he's incredible. And I'm like, man, you were sitting with somebody pretty remarkable and didn't know it. So, he's still somebody that I think the world of. And I got to spend some time with him last year. And he's fixing to come out with something else pretty remarkable on Whitey Bulger. So
Oh my goodness.
I know, girl. I know.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
So I had a friend when, shout out to Omar, when I mentioned that you were going to be coming on the show and you had worked the case. So he had a question that he wanted me to ask you.
Okay.
In regards to when DeSalvo had escaped from prison, what was the reporting like for those few days that he was out? Do you recall that time?
First of all, Omar, where are you? I'm a little hurt. You didn't show up in person. Second of all,
I know he's a busy man.
I'm
He's
just
a busy
teasing.
man, but shout out to Omar.
No, shout out. I'm just teasing. No, I think, and you're making me use my memory on that, but I think there was some chaos, and I think the deal with Albert DeSalvo in general and the Boston Strangler in general was for a lot of people the very first famous true crime. There were movies, there were books, there were magazines. You couldn't miss this case no matter where you lived in the country. And it's probably one of the greatest monikers ever. And one thing that I know resonated with me when I went there to work the case, because again, for me, I got to go to the scene. I got to see it. I got to understand it. Like Delphi, I had to go there to truly understand what I believed happened.
Yeah.
I can't sit in Atlanta and tell you what I think about Delphi. I've got to go. So I went to Boston and I had some of the original crime scene photographs. And Danny, it knocked me out because you look down the street, it's the same cobblestone, it's the same brownstones, it's the same street lamps. The only thing different are the trees are bigger and the cars are more modern. Other than that, I'm looking at the crime scene. It was crazy in the greatest way possible.
Right.
So of course I love Boston. Casey and I went to Legal Seafood. I mean, good Lord Almighty, how do you have that kind of clam chowder and not just get knocked out? And then you've got Casey telling you all the reasons why he doesn't think it's Albert DeSalvo. And, I'm like, look, there ain't but one way to find out. I mean, let's find out, you know? But again, there is a little more to it.
Yeah. When another question that Omar had, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this. When DeSalvo was murdered in prison, how was that able to occur? What Omar said, because he's very well researched in this case, if you
Sounds
see the
like
diagram, right?
Yeah.
Like he was saying, if you see the diagram of how his cell was so isolated, wouldn't it have been tough for another inmate to get there? So how
I
did
think
that?
the short answer is yes and no. Again, if you look how things happened, like with Jeffrey Dahmer, if you look how things have happened with other people, there's a routine to working in corrections. I used to work corrections for the sheriff's department for 8 years inside Rice Street Jail. When you have a routine and that routine is broken for whatever reason, a inmate has a heart attack, so you don't make the round on time. Believe me when I tell you, Omar, inmates are watching every second for an opportunity. And if you get called away, if you get sick, you have diarrhea and you've got to go to the bathroom. I mean, it happens. They're waiting. They are waiting for that second and they are ready to pounce. So yes, it might be out of the way. It might be, hey, they should have been doing bed check then. It depends. Sometimes other inmates help other inmates. So they have a fake fight or they pretend to have a heart attack, whatever it is to bring, that guard to them. So I don't know, other than I've seen what you're talking about, and it does appear that he should have been isolated, but you pull the right person away and they're fish in a barrel.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Opportunity.
Always. And they're looking for it 24/7, baby. They don't sleep on it. They don't have a day off. I promise you, they don't.
Yeah. So in regards to switching to a more modern case, there was a case that didn't get a lot of coverage here. You might not have heard about it. Karen Reed. I know.
I don't think I'm familiar.
Yeah. It didn't get much press, but
didn't get much press.
didn't get much press. Oh my goodness. One, I would love your personal opinion about
Sure.
more so, and your professional opinion of
Okay. I'll tell you right now, they're
the
the same
crime
thing.
scene and
They're the
and
same
how
thing.
it led to what happened.
Okay. My personal opinion and my professional opinion, they are the same thing. This is the worst investigation I have ever seen that actually went to trial. Not once, but twice. I was so confident they would not retry her. I posted it all over creation. This case, I said it, and I quote, will not get any stronger. It's only going to get weaker. I was right by that. But I thought the prosecution would also recognize it and say, we don't have enough. We either got to go find more, do more, frame it different, charge her different, but they never had murder. If you cannot tell me how somebody died, you don't have murder. You got to know how he died. Did he hit his head on the fire hydrant, on the curb, on the weight bench? Was he hit in the head with a golf club, a baseball bat? We don't know today.
I know.
If you are not listening to your medical examiner and you're going to call her names and you're going to call the suspect names and you're going to call other expert names and you're going to say in 6 hours, I know what happened. Okay. You have got to start with your people. Your medical examiner is not there to F you over in any way. They have a medical degree. They're going to be able to tell you, I have never seen somebody hit fatally by a car that does not have injury to their lower extremities. That's a fact, Danny.
Yeah.
That's not, we need somebody on the opposing side. The reason the prosecution didn't have a medical examiner or a pathologist to get up and say that is because they couldn't find one. They could not find anybody in this country that is a medical examiner or a pathologist to say he was absolutely hit by a car. They had an engineer. What in the world? And then they had the one man, well, have you ever worked on a dead body? No. Okay, well, good night. See you. Thanks for coming. You have person after person. I don't know. I don't recall. Then you have the man that says, well, I've got the degree in this, and then he don't. The school he claimed to go to, University of Alabama, Roll Tide, don't even offer it. What in the world is this case? They have not vetted their people. They don't have experts with the background that are going to be able to say this is conclusively what happened to this man. They don't have it. And when you start saying, and this knocked me out from the beginning, never in 44 years have I ever heard a lead detective did not go to the scene. What?
Right.
How is that possible? I've just told y'all, I had to drive to Delphi. You can't get information from photographs or from other people. When they had the one man on the stand, the one officer, and they said, well, where was John's body? Somewhere over there. Somewhere over there. Y'all didn't put a lasting mark? You didn't put a stake in the ground? You're telling me he landed way over there by the flagpole. How? How did he get there if he wasn't struck severely? And how did his phone land under him? They can't explain it. It's like nothing I've ever seen. Then the pig DNA. Shut your mouth. There's pig DNA, but y'all can't figure out where that came from. You're worried there's not other DNA. Okay, well, you ought to stay right there on that, because if that were my scene, I ain't moving from that little fact until I can explain it. And if that came from a dog's mouth because they were chewing on a toy, that's going to be horrifying to me. Horrifying. And then all the other stuff. I mean, it's just the red Solo cups, the snowblower. Why is any of this happening? And then here's the last thing I'm going to say. We are taught at the police academy ad nauseum, if it ain't wrote down, it didn't happen. So you're telling me this woman to 3 different people said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. And none of them wrote it down. Not a police officer, not an EMT. And then the witness that heard it didn't tell anybody and didn't mention it at grand jury.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the other issue I have with that. I lied when I said that was the last thing. Here's the other issue. How did she say it? Did she hear somebody say, well, could she have hit him? And did she say, I hit him? Like, are you out of your mind? Or did she say it like, I hit him, like I couldn't have hit him? We don't know. Because again, they should have written it down. They should have said she was, she said it this way with this inflection. I took it to mean this, but that's not what happened. So sad and pitiful. And I have said this over and over, and I'll say it again. John O'Keefe deserved better.
100%.
Period. His mama still doesn't know. His brother doesn't know. I don't even know how to even try to begin to comfort her. There's no way to, because twice now the Commonwealth has failed her. But prior to that, every single person that showed up at that scene failed her. So
yeah. Well said. I know me and you messaged quite a bit during that trial. I'd be like, Cheryl, did you see court today? Did you hear this?
Yeah.
And it was just.
And you were fantastic because you had such insight to that town and, what all was going on. It was fantastic. So I appreciated that because, you don't want to get so far over here that you're missing something about that community, their culture, how everything, might really operate there. So that was something I appreciated.
And it was, and shout out to you for introducing me to Susan Hendricks, because then she was able to fly out and we were able to connect there right outside the courthouse.
Do you not love her?
Oh, yes. I love her. And while we were together, we talked about how much we loved you and how awesome you are.
Well, I like hearing that. But she's one of the kindest, generous, just loving people. And she didn't want anything in return. Nothing. She told a story when we were in Delphi. This really cute young reporter was there. And she went, did Susan tell you we slept together in a van? And I went, now, honey, that might be the lead. You don't need to say that too loud. Well, Susan, of course, is laughing. And she said, no, we were both freezing. And so I let her jump in the TV van with me. And that's how we warmed up because they were freezing, waiting to get in line. And, Susan, she's from New Jersey originally, but she's been in Georgia a long time. She was cold. So, but that's just who she is. She, will feed you. She'll take care of you. She'll make sure you're, warming up. She's just a tremendous human being. Truly.
So Russell in the chat had said, can you tell us a little bit about Delphi? So you said you flew out there. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I drove, Russell, and here's the reason.
Oh, you flew. Okay.
I drove because in the beginning, they were saying they thought this was a transient person, possibly a truck driver. Now, Russell, don't tell nobody, but I am not real good with directions. So if my husband were to tell me, hey, meet me on the northwest side of the house, I would just have to walk around till I found him. Okay. So with that said, if I could find the bridge, then I would give credence to this could be a stranger that happened upon the bridge and just happened to have seen him. Now, again, this is before we knew anything about the text message. Keep that in mind. Or the message they got from Keegan Klein. So when I got into town, Kelsey and her then boyfriend, now husband, got in the car with me. And my daughter was with me. And we drove. And I told them, don't tell me anything. Delphi is a little bitty place, the town part. And I thought, well, surely I can find it. I could not. And then there's one bridge that has, the logo, but it's a path. It's like a walk bridge to the path to get to the bridge. So I saw that bridge, but I thought, well, that can't be it. That's not a train trestle. And I didn't see anywhere to park. I didn't see anywhere to turn in. So finally, I said, Kelsey, you just got to tell me. Well, we pulled into this parking lot and we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked. And the first thing I noticed was something that I'd never heard in any of the reports. When you get on the path going to the bridge, there are houses. I didn't know that. So I'm like, well, nobody was screaming. And I was afraid I knew why. When I got to the bridge, y'all, it was so much higher than I thought it was. My sister Charlene went with me on another trip, and there was a little bit of snow. To me, it was a ton, but to them, it was a little bit of snow. And Charlene said, well, aren't you going to walk the bridge so you can see the other side? I was like, no, ma'am. That is not going to happen. But being there, it also told me the man on the bridge that, Libby had filmed had his hands in his pockets. There is no way I would have walked that bridge without my hands out, ready to hold myself, and dead center. It looked to me like in the photograph now, he was over to one side. So I had always theorized that I thought he passed them and turned around. And that's when she started filming him as he made that turn. Because, I mean, Danny, how many women do you know? And how many women would tell you, I was in a grocery store, a movie theater, wherever, where somebody creeped me out? They said something or did something. Almost every woman we know has had that experience.
Yeah.
How many videotaped him? None of them. So for this child to have the wherewithal to videotape told me there was some overt action. He said something or did something to make her that afraid. Because that to me was a step that was unbelievable. Liberty German gave us the video. She gave us his voice. She gave us the location in real time. Good Lord, that child couldn't have done any more, right? But being on that bridge, I knew several things. I knew he was local. And when I called them, I told them he was within 5 miles. And I said, and I'm being generous, I think it's 2. He's right here. I'm telling you, nobody else in broad daylight would be on that bridge, take 2 victims, murder them, and then disappear. He's right here.
Yeah.
So going to the scene, Russell, is imperative for me. And the other thing that I learned is where their bodies were. You've got the cemetery behind you, but then you can see there's a few houses down past this path. And then you've got the city ahead of you, and then you've got houses. As I learned things like Keegan Kline, I thought there was, a child predator ring. I could not, in my head, accept that this Keegan Kline texted Libby, meet at the bridge at this time on this day. And then another man just happened to be there, same location, same time, same day, and wanted to murder somebody.
Right.
That was beyond. So, we stayed with it. We kept trying to come with different things. And I'll tell you one thing I did, Russell, just so you know, and I didn't know how much we could really do from Atlanta, but I did know that Delphi had never had a double murder and certainly had never had a double murder involving children. So I thought it was important to do anything we can. I have an accent. When I first heard Down the Hill, I knew he didn't sound like me, but I didn't know where he was from. But I knew somebody that would. There's an expert that knows all accents, works with the movie industry, has worked with Disney and everybody else, has worked with famous people to make sure their accent in a movie or on TV is perfect. All I did, I didn't tell him what it involved. I sent him 3 words. This is before we even have guys. It was just down the hill. Almost immediately, he responds to me and says, rural Indiana. And it was
Wow.
based predominantly on the word heal. He said, for me, the way I say it, the end of the word is going to be significant because I say heal. That's not how he said it. He said more heal.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to determine that. So again, that's something I shared with them. I'm telling you, he's right there. I'm telling you. So
Yeah.
I think they did a phenomenal job. I think they stayed with it with great heartache, with great frustration. They wanted this thing solved. They wanted this guy off the street. They wanted people to feel safe. They wanted the families to have justice. And they did it. And they did it again. I'm going to go back using that whole team. It was a volunteer that finally said, hey, this person, there's no street with that name. That's got to be the last name, and this has to be the street. And he put himself there, and that started this whole thing, which remarkable.
Yeah. Capone had a question kind of going off that, and Russell is
Okay.
backing that. Can you give us a little bit more information on what you just spoke about in regards to the trafficking group?
Sure. It's what I thought. So like John Wayne Gacy, he murdered all of those young boys, but he was a part of a child predator ring. These people find each other, and they were able to do it long before the internet. But with the internet, it is so freaking easy, y'all. So you just take Delphi and you say, you have a man that kidnapped two little girls on the bridge, walked them a half a mile, significant, murdered them. One was completely naked, the other one was wearing the other victim's clothing. So this was a sexually motivated crime. He was stopped in some way. Okay. Then you have a person that was texting one of the victims to tell her, hey, meet me. This person has child pornography all over creation in his home and on every device. Then you realize where they were found is with another person with a shady background that lied about his whereabouts and asked other people to lie about his whereabouts on that day. So to me, there's no way you don't look at it, whether or not they could prove it, whether or not it was true. I will never be able to completely just toss that out of my head. I just can't.
Okay.
There's a lot of cases, Natalie Holloway being one. Natalie Holloway was never an unsolved case. It was an unproven case. So I don't know whether or not Keegan Kline is involved or not. It could very well be unproven. But in the beginning, there ain't no way you don't look at it. Not a shot.
Yeah. K-Dog asks, do you know why it took a month to get a search warrant?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't. I don't know if it wasn't. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Sometimes you don't get a search warrant. It's not written properly. You don't have enough probable cause. I don't know why it would. I don't know.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. I know. So Cheryl talks a lot about this case on her podcast. So definitely, if y'all are wanting more from her, definitely go listen to the podcast because you'll get a lot more information. And she has a lot of people who were boots on the ground there who can speak to that for sure. And just in the interest of time, I just want to ask a few more questions for you. But I mentioned your podcast quite a bit, but we haven't talked about it. So Zone 7, when did you decide to become, clearly, based on the resume that you have a lot of free time. When did you want to add podcaster to that, and how did that come about?
Well, let me be clear. I didn't. I was not even really sure what a podcast was. I had a lot of students when I taught at the college, they would tell me, oh, you got to do this, you got to listen to that. And I was like, y'all, it ain't 1940. I ain't going to listen to the radio and hear a story. Well, I didn't get it. And then when I started to really get it, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And there were so many that I loved and enjoyed. Well, Nancy Gray said to me, you have got so many stories, you need to do a podcast. And I said, girl, I ain't doing a podcast. I'm horrible with technology, which Danny knows, because it took her an hour to get me on tonight because I didn't know how to do it. I don't have any idea how to edit anything like that or get it onto a platform. That's just not my thing. So Nancy, again, being the loyal friend, she said, I will help you with all of that. I will get you a producer. I will send you a microphone. And I said, okay, I'll do it for a little bit. Let me just see. Well, I ended up loving it. And the producer, Max, he is one of the greatest people to work with. He can fix technical issues and make sure the guests know how to get their microphone straight. And he edits like crazy. If I say something wrong or, something I shouldn't, which has happened a couple times. Like every now and then he'll, say something in my ear and he'll say allegedly for me. I'm like, oh, I do forget that word. Because, in my business, I don't use allegedly. I am very confident this person did it because I worked it. Mm-hmm. So I have to be sometimes reminded. So, but I will tell you a fun fact. The reason I call it Zone 7 is because in Atlanta, we have 6 police zones. Back in the day, like I told y'all, we didn't have pagers or cell phones. So we would have to go over the radio if we wanted to all meet up after work at a bar. So we couldn't just say, hey, we're all going to go drinking tonight after work. So we came up with, we're going to 5-9 in Zone 7, which we knew was Manuel's Tavern. So if anybody at home had a police scanner, they didn't know we were talking about a bar.
Oh my
gosh. I decided to call it that because I knew these people that were with me during the original Zone 7, Nancy included, were going to be a part of it. So Vince Velasquez and Nancy and, all the people that you hear. I mean, I've known them 30 years. So.
That's incredible. I love that. So you, in, of course, Zone 7 will be a staple this year at CrimeCon. So if anybody is in the Denver area, go to CrimeCon. It's a wonderful experience.
I
and I saw the
wait.
schedule.
I cannot wait. It's like a reunion.
Yeah.
We get to see, each other. I cannot wait to see you. I can't wait to see Susan. Nancy will be there. Jared Bradley will be there. Marsha Clark's going to be there. I mean, it's going to be insane.
I saw the schedule and I was like, Cheryl's so busy. I hope I have a second to say hi.
Oh, you'll see me. I'm going to be at your table. I'll be at my table. We'll see each other for sure. Maybe at the Denver Zone 7.
So a couple last minute questions and we'll wrap up. So I ask everybody, do you have any pets?
I do.
What do you have? Because we are a very pet friendly show. I have my fat cat over here behind.
Well, I love animals. Right now we have Traveler. Traveler just turned 17. She is a Shih Tzu. She's a miniature Shih Tzu and a miniature poodle. She's tiny and brilliant. She's so smart. She's so loving. But we have had geckos, birds, rabbits, cats, anything you can think of, snakes. We love animals. Love them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we have a
17-year-old dog.
Yeah, she's still spry, honey.
That's incredible.
Yeah. She's happening, and she's brilliant. I mean, you can show her something one time, she's got it. But we have a farm. We had miniature donkeys, chickens. We had a horse. So, that's another reason why the Wildlife CSI Academy was kind of second nature. Animals are big for me. I mean, I love drug dogs and bomb dogs and, horses. Mounted patrol is one of the greatest things. You've got animals that, help people, and they've been to space, and they help people that can't see and can't go get their own mail and can't know when they're going to have a seizure. They're just remarkable.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. We love animal people. So
yes, hardcore over here. Yep.
So One of your relatively recent episodes, you talk on Zone 7, you talked about, and I legit made a note in my phone. I was like, this is the question for Cheryl.
Uh-oh.
So out of your expansive career where you have done so much, and we've only touched on a little bit of what you've done, you did some undercover work.
Yes.
And you did it for a Grateful Dead concert.
Right on.
And when you were telling the story, I was like, I think I know where this is going. And then I'm like, ooh, no, I had no idea it was going to go that way. So can you tell my audience here a little bit of the risky undercover work you did for the Grateful Dead?
Yes. Well, I mean, I normally don't brag on myself, and I hesitate to use the word hero, but they selected a couple of us to go undercover, and it was the last time the Grateful Dead played in Atlanta, and they wanted us to go and locate and then confiscate illegal T-shirt sales. So no drugs, no human trafficking, but T-shirts that didn't have the correct hologram that were counterfeit. And they were adamant. They were not going to have counterfeit shirts in Atlanta. They weren't doing it. And that's how we spent our evening with the Grateful Dead, with everybody around us spinning and, carrying on and partying and having a great time. And that's what we did.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I was driving when I was listening to that, and I could not stop laughing. Oh,
well, especially you need to give a little context to the story. I didn't just mention it for no reason. I was talking to a man whose code name is Pale Horse, who had infiltrated some of the biggest hate crimes in America and had been stripped naked in a basement with a gun put to his head. That was his undercover experience. So I was jokingly saying to him, it's basically the same thing.
You were just like, I know exactly what you've gone through. I've done this.
I get it completely. Yep.
I sensed a little trying to one up, but that was just the way I heard it. But
hey,
that's
okay. Can you imagine? But again, I wanted him to laugh, but I also wanted the audience to appreciate what he did. A lot of us have had a little experience with undercover. After the Other Side Lounge bombing, my partner Leslie Bailey and I went undercover at gay bars in Atlanta. Here's a hint. We ain't gay. Why they chose us, I don't know. Other gay people tend to know you're not in the family, as they say. But here we were trying to see if we could figure out, is anybody here, doing hate speech or any graffiti? We were trying to figure that out. But, they knew. They knew quickly.
So this isn't a question, but a comment. Cheryl, so Karen Diamond is in Australia.
Oh,
hi, Danny. Cheryl is a very interesting guest. Cheryl seems like a very lovely woman with a fascinating job. Let's see. And then, all right, James Watson will not let me live this down. He's already asked a few times. Where is it? He wants to know what is behind, like, what's behind that little door where you are. Is that a window or a door? Oh no, I think he froze. Are you still there, Cheryl? Give a moment for that. James Watson, it would be your question. Oh no, she booted out. She booted out as my cat jumps up here. All right, we'll give her a minute to possibly pop back in. I know we were just getting at the kind of wrapping things up anyway, of course, and here's my cat Selena jumping on. Froze conveniently after she asked the forbidding question. I know, James. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. We asked her about the door and things froze. Yeah, James Watson, I blame this solely on you, not technology, but I blame this on you. So again, we'll give give Cheryl a moment to try to pop back in. But in the meantime, before if she's able to pop back in, again, all of the information for where to find Cheryl is in the drop-down bar below, where you can find Zone 7, which is on all podcast formats, her Instagram pages, as well as Facebook, websites. There's so many avenues that you can find Cheryl. So yeah, I definitely would recommend Zone 7. I know several months ago when I did probably not several months ago at this point. It might have been last year or even the year. I can't even remember. Time goes by so fast. I did an episode of podcasts that I recommend, and Zone 7 was in that. So definitely make sure to subscribe to that. So many great episodes on that. So, which is very cool. Don says, I love Sheryl Mack so much. Can't wait to meet her at CrimeCon next month. Yes. I'm right there with you. All right, you got to get a star here. So the star, did I just say the star? Yeah, wrench. I don't know why I was thinking stars. So the wrench is if you have any links or anything you want to share, then the wrench gives you abilities to do so. But yes, I cannot wait to see Cheryl at CrimeCon. So that's awesome that you are going to. So I'm guessing that you saw the schedule, and there's a lot, and Cheryl's doing a lot of very great live panels and shows there. So I'm very, very excited for that. So I'm just going to give Cheryl a quick message just to check in. While that's going on, yes, definitely. I look forward to hopefully running into you as well at CrimeCon. I love meeting so many people at CrimeCon. It's absolutely amazing because people travel from so far to be there. So let me just make sure I'm up to date with everybody in the chat. All right, so Cheryl is trying to pop back in. Hopefully we can get that in there. And James Watson, again, I know that's Selena. She's right here. Yeah, I actually thought she was going to jump up onto the keyboard while Cheryl was talking earlier. I'm thinking, no, please don't do that. So I was afraid I'd get booted off. But yeah, James Watson, I totally blame you. We asked, you asked your question and her camera went out. Coincidence? I don't think so. So let's see. Just James is spreading his bad karma. He always does. But that's all right. Let's see.
I'm so sorry.
No worries. We have you back.
That was crazy. It's like you and I talked about 9 o'clock, and honey, that phone just went, well, it's 9. Bye. Sorry. Crazy. I had to come plug it in. I don't know what happened. It just glitched. So I apologize.
Oh, goodness.
So Australia,
all good.
Was saying?
So James just wanted to know what was behind that little door, what he thought was a little door behind you. And I wasn't sure if it was a window.
Oh, the liquor cabinet?
Oh.
No, I'm just teasing.
I was all excited.
I'm just teasing. It's like a little barn door, like window cover.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. We just, was it coincidental that when that question was asked, your phone booted you off? I don't know.
Could be.
So, we've gone a little bit past what we discussed. So my apologies for keeping you longer.
No, not at all. I've had a wonderful time. Not at all. Any more questions?
So the last question I have for you is where I've tried to explain it a little bit while you were getting back in, but where can people find you? Social media, websites, whatnot.
Instagram, Facebook, X, I guess all of them really. LinkedIn. I'm pretty much everywhere. You'll see Sheryl McCollum or the Cold Case Institute or Zone 7. But I've got different ones, and you can find me anywhere. feel free to message me if you have a question or a case, or you think you've got something that'll help on one of ours. That'd be fantastic. Anybody in Kansas City, I need you right now. I need to get a case on TV in Kansas City bad.
You hear that, everyone?
I need some help.
We had this while you were getting back up. It says, I love Sheryl Mack so much. Can't wait to meet her at CrimeCon next month.
Great. Who was that?
That is, and I'm probably butchering the name, Dawn K.
Okay. I will look for you, Dawn. I cannot wait to get there. You have no idea.
I am so excited as well. Like my closet is like packed, ready to go.
I understand. I keep throwing things in a suitcase already. Like I've got special tennis shoes that I wear for CrimeCon every year. I only wear them to CrimeCon. They're already in there. Like I'm getting ready.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Cheryl, for coming on Danny After Dark. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And
you're one of my favorites. And I tell you, when you were on Zone 7 with our group, y'all, let me tell you something. She had never been on Zone 7, and it was Joshua Schiffer and Susan Hendricks. And, you know, that's like double dutch. Like you just got to find your way and get in there when you can. And Danny, you didn't miss a beat. And you, again, had so much to offer. So thank you for the insight and just the willingness to share. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that opportunity. I'm still like, oh my God, I was on Zone 7. But everybody, check out the Zone 7 podcast, please, as well as if you are going to be local to CrimeCon, Denver, Colorado next month, come.
Absolutely.
Come say hello to us. So thank you again, Cheryl. And again, I appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship, and I appreciate what you bring to my I love to be educated, and Zone 7 does that with just such a humane, like compassionate approach, and something for everybody. So I can't say enough good things about it. I absolutely love it.
Well, thank you, Sugar. That means a lot. It does. You have no idea.
So everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. If you missed this and you are watching it on replay and you have any questions, please leave a comment or a question down below and I will get back to you. And I will see y'all tomorrow night for the True Crime and Chill with Mr. Beckham. So see y'all tomorrow for that. And in the meantime, remember, we don't live in darkness. Darkness lives in us. Bye, everyone.